Welcome to the Military Bottom Line podcast, where we help you make the most out of your military career. Today on the show, I have Staff Sergeant Rafael Cervantes, good friend of mine, who I met back in the Marine Corps a couple years back. He's a Purple Heart recipient and has a lot of good insight and wisdom on how to deal with struggles from the Marine Corps and kind of the opportunities that can come from those difficult times. I hope you guys enjoy the show. I know I learned a lot, and he's well worth listening to. Hey, Cervantes, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. Hey, I kind of want to give a little bit of backstory and hear a little backstory about, how and when you decided to join the Marine Corps and a little bit of backstory on your career thus far.
Okay. Um, well, we've talked a lot about how long I've been in. I've been in for about 12 years now. I just hit my 12-year mark back in January. I joined in January. I don't know. It's kind of weird at that point. I had just got out of high school and I went to junior college thinking I was going to become a criminal psychologist and going to save the world as a police officer. And I realized I was not going in the right direction. And I joined the Marine Corps, and I joined because I wanted to become an infantryman. Just wanted to knock doors and kiss babies in a foreign country.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out that way. I joined the Marine Corps. I came open contract thinking I was going to get what I wanted, but I became a motor T guy. When I was in boot camp, they told me, yeah.
For those that don't know what open contract is, what is, I mean, it sounds self-explanatory, but what is that like?
Open contract. So at the time, I didn't have a date to go to boot camp. So my recruiter said, hey man, if you want to take off now, there's a good chance you could become infantry, but you have to go open contract. And what it is, basically, you don't have a designated contract for a specific job. So once you get out of boot camp, whatever the Marine Corps needs, they give you. So I took a gamble thinking that, hey, there's a good chance that I can become an infantry guy. But it didn't work that way. It did not work out that way. I became at the time they gave me the name of automotive technician. I was completely clueless. I was like, wow, that sounds a lot of fun. I went to,
It
I
wasn't?
went to, it was different. It wasn't a lot of fun because I have a lot of friends that are motor team. They love it. And sometimes I miss that life, but it was just not something that I felt like I had a calling for. And it was just different for me. I never grew up working on vehicles. I grew up with a single mom, and it was just different for me. So had to get used to it and learn to love it, and I did. And I became a mechanic for vehicles. And when I showed up to my first unit in 2008, I was stationed in Hawaii. I got pretty lucky. I went to Hawaii with Second Battalion, Third Marines. And when I got there, I literally just enjoyed it. I got there within 6 months. I was deployed to Afghanistan in 2009. And my first job as a mechanic in Afghanistan was I still remember this, was to work on a drive shaft in a Humvee. Uh, Craziest thing, I'd never done it prior to that. Never. In my 19 years of existence, I never did it. But I had to figure it out.
Just threw you
It
into
took
it,
me
huh?
about, yeah. I was the only mechanic at my base. They told me, hey, Cervantes, looks like you're motivated. We're going to send you to this base by yourself. And I showed up. There was 14 vehicles, only 4 work. And
Wow.
yeah, it was a very big learning experience. It took me about 3 days to figure out how to fix a drive shaft.
That's not
By the
bad.
time I was no, by the time I was done with the 6 month deployment, it took me about 45 minutes, and I didn't have to jack the vehicle up or anything. I could just do it on the fly underneath the vehicle. So
Awesome.
I became really good at it, and I did that job for about 3 years. Um, Once I got back from deployment, I did security for the battalion commander. And I did that. I did that training till right before we deployed in 2010, and they split our team in half. And they told me to go to a team where we were going to train Afghan police in Afghanistan. Um, and I think that was probably like the best time of my life is when I went to Afghanistan, trained Afghan police. I met great people, I great good friends, and um, in that deployment, I had a incident towards the end of that deployment that sent me back early. Um, and that's when my whole life changed. Um,
Hmm.
I in 2011. You want me to talk about it?
Yeah, yeah, if you're willing.
Yeah. In 2011, April 4th, 2011, I was hit by an ID in right outside Farah province, right between Farah province and Helmand province, and we were just doing a patrol where we were looking for bad bombs at a guy's house, and um, as we were leaving his house, I was driving the first vehicle, and my vehicle hit an IED, and felt like I don't know, kind of hard to explain sometimes, but it felt like a speed bump. Like I hit something. I was completely lost at the time. I was unaware of what was going on, but I was able to come back into sense and kind of start thinking, and all the training that the Marine Corps has taught me prior to that, it got me really ready for that moment. And I had to leave Afghanistan. I went to Germany, and then I came to San Diego. They sent me from hospital to hospital, and then once I got to San Diego, I was transferred to Hawaii, and I finished my treatment out there. And I spent a few years recovering. I had an injury in my right leg, my hip, and my back. And during my recovery, I did a lot of sports in the military. I did adaptive sports for the Marine Corps and the Wounded Warriors, and got to travel with them, and I got to see a lot of things when it comes to um, how different Marines were able to recover, or different service members were able to recover from their injuries. So I think that was one of the biggest things of my recovery, just being able to see or witness other people and how they achieve their new lifestyles with whatever change they have from their
Mm,
previous injury. So I they asked me to that I was going to retire, medically retired, and I wanted to stay in the Marine Corps. And they said, hey, if you want to stay in the Marine Corps, you would have to find a different job. And one of the job choices was the job that I do now, and that's what you and I met
yep.
is being aviation operations, um, being an aviation operations Marine, where we we plan out, we track, we manage an airfield, and I don't know, I love this job. It's a different job and it's a different lifestyle, but to be honest, I love it. I wouldn't want to change it for anything.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then I mean, after an injury like that, the Marine Corps is still, supportive, and they're still willing to work with you and obviously help you recover. And it sounds like a lot of different opportunities came from that incident that actually have been beneficial. Would you say that's true, or?
Yeah, of course. I think the military has adapted a lot over time. We've been around since 1775, just the Marine Corps alone, and every war we get into, they come up with something new. And the Iraqi war to the Afghanistan war, it was a huge change. And when I first became a wounded warrior, when I was dealing with my right leg and my left hip and my back, it was on you, but it just kept getting better as time went.
Hmm.
And I was one of the last Marines in Hawaii to leave with an injury that was sustained overseas in Afghanistan. I was the last Marine there. There was other injuries that Marines got during training in Hawaii, but it was they're so good at what they do now. It's We have Marines now in the Marine Corps that are completely blind, but they can still stay on active duty. We have Marines that have
Mm,
double leg amputees, a bump the knee, and they're still in the Marine Corps and they're still able to run PFTs. So I think the Marine Corps got a lot better with that. And I asked them, I wanted to stay in the Marine Corps, and they said, you know what, we'll support you. We'll find a job. If you can do your job, then we'll keep you in the Marine Corps. And at the time, I didn't know if I was going to love it or not. And I just took a big chance because I think one of the reasons I did make that decision was I didn't want to get out of the Marine Corps based on someone else's terms.
definitely.
I wanted to get out on my own terms. So they gave me the tools that I needed, and I was able to just get to work. And now I love what I do.
That's
I'm
awesome,
a
man.
happy person. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that you did some time with like the Invictus Games and all like kind of wounded warrior um, sporting events, and like I mean, what is that like? And do you get orders cut for such an event, or I mean, what does that look like from your
Well,
perspective?
to be honest, it was all I was I couldn't believe it most of the time. Half of the time that I was doing that kind of stuff, I never saw myself doing those things. And some people don't even know what Invictus is. But just to kind of explain it short, I guess Invictus is it's kind of the Olympics for the Paralympics for the USA or the militaries in all branches in the NATO community. So we have countries in like Afghanistan, the Britons, the Brits are there, the Germans are there, Netherlands, Mexico, Cuba, Colombians, a bunch of countries, and they bring their they have service members that have been injured either in combat or in accident or training. And the way that the military is starting to evolve when it comes to their recovery is through sports. There's medicine that does help, but most times when you have a person that's going through a traumatic change in their life, um, staying busy and being able to see people be successful in sports and a new adaptation, then it helps them recover a lot faster. And I think that was one of the reasons that I recovered so fast, was because I was able to ride a bicycle. Bicycle would not hurt my hip or it wouldn't hurt my ankle. I was able to just get on a bike and ride it for miles. And I was fortunate to live in Hawaii. So for me, riding on a bike and traveling all over the island, it was not a bad job.
Yeah.
It was a great time. So I literally got on a bike and I would ride it for days, 5, 6 days out of the week, and I got really good at it. And then one day they're like, "Hey, they're doing a Marine Corps trials where you can try out for the All Marine team for cycling. Do you want to try it out?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So they flew me to San Diego from Hawaii, and I raced. And I don't know, I think I came in 16th place the first time I did it, and I felt super discouraged. But then the next year I tried it again, and I think I came in third place, maybe in first. I don't know. I don't know if it was third or first. I did it back to back, and
Mhm.
both times I came in first or third. So I got really good at it, and then I got more training. I got better training with other trainers, and I had a great trainer in Hawaii that put so much time into me that she helped me just develop things that I couldn't do before. And I was racing clock, and I was racing people, and um, then they picked the best people in all the branches in the United States, and they put them in the USA team to go compete at the Invictus. Where I competed was in Orlando, Florida, with I don't know 20 different countries. And 500 athletes from all over the world, and we basically stayed at the wide world of sports in Orlando, Florida, and we just competed. And I got to compete in sit down volleyball.
And this is all, I mean, you're still in the Marine Corps. This is all, you're on orders, like you're still getting paid full time to do this, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's
There's
that's
a
pretty wild.
there was people on the team that were veterans who got out and then they come back in and they get like activated TD orders and they get per diem while they're there and they get helped out. For me, I was just lucky. I got to go there and um, I was still on a I was still on active duty. So for me, they
Yeah.
just sent me temporarily out there, and I had orders. I had the unit commander from that unit from Wounded Warriors reach out to my CO, my commanding officer, and basically tell him what was going on. And they said yeah, and they sent me out there and I had a blast. I had a really, really good time, and that was probably one of the last times I ever did an event was at the Invictus Games,
Hmm.
and I think that was in 2017.
Cool. Is it, it's still an
So
annual thing or?
yeah, yeah, I actually talked to the athletic director for the Marine Corps yesterday. They were supposed to do the Netherlands. They were supposed to get back, I think, yesterday, but because of this whole COVID
Mm,
19,
yeah.
they were able to cancel it, and then I think they're going to reschedule it for next year, and they still do it. The Prince of the UK is very involved with that, or was very involved with that. That he got a lot of people support, and people were loving it all over the U.S. I'm talking about ESPN was broadcasting sit down volleyball, rowing, cycling, track and field, swimming, and it's a fun time.
So you did sit down volleyball and cycling, or did you have to just pick one or the other?
No, they try to put you in a multiple events just because more people. You stay busy once you do one event. If you don't have multiple events in, you're
Yeah.
basically done the entire time you're there. But no, I did. I did sit down volleyball, which is a team event, and then I did cycling. I had two races. I had a team race, and then I had a time trial where you just race against the time. And then I did rowing. Never done rowing in my life. Uh, it's a stationary rowing,
Yeah.
and it was probably one of the most intense things I've ever done in my life.
Really?
If I can picture anything, just imagine walking into an arena, aka basketball court.
Uh-huh.
All the lights are turned off. The only lights are inside the basketball court. and the stands are completely packed, and there is like 30 or 40 what are they called, the rowings. I forgot what their names of them, but there's a bunch of them sitting next to each other, and they're hooked up to the monitor on top of the basketball court, and it has like little boats, and your name is on the boat,
No
and you're
kidding.
all lined up next to each other. And then they're playing like this crazy rock and roll, and everybody's chanting, everybody's screaming. They're
Hmm.
like, "All right, Raphael, you're next." So they all sit you down, and it's a race.
Yeah.
You're sitting there, but all you see is the handles, the chain, and the rowing in front of you.
So you have
And
no idea actually how you're doing in comparison to the people next to you.
heck no, you just see your little boat in front of you. It's telling you like your pace, your split time, and your meters, but you don't know how far you are. So
Yeah.
the whole time, there was two races I did. It was a 1 minute race and the 4 minute. And I was like, you know what? I can do the 1 minute race easy. And I sit on this thing, and I'm talking about it wore me out for a minute straight. Everybody in the stadium is screaming as loud as they can. You can't even hear yourself breathe. And you're just pulling away as fast as you can trying to win. You don't even know where you're at. And then as soon as you're done, you just want to throw up. They have like buckets next to you. But it was probably one of the funnest things I've done. And I got to race with people that were like 6'5", 300 pounds. And
No kidding.
yeah, it was such a good time. I got to race with good people from different countries. So it was fun.
That's awesome. So
Yeah,
then,
it was good.
I mean, so you joined, you were joining in the hopes of kind of doing the infantry thing. Um, and,
Mhm.
do you feel like with the deployments, you kind of got to scratch that itch a little bit, or um, do you feel like you got what you wanted out of the military, or not? Is that why you're staying in?
Um, did I get I think to answer your question, absolutely. I got everything I've ever wanted from a deployment. I think every Marine that joins the Marine Corps, or most Marines that join the Marine Corps, that's what they want to do. Right?
Hmm.
If I wanted to do something different, I would have joined a different branch. But I
Yep.
wanted to join the Marine Corps to go fight the war and do something different than that I thought that I couldn't do. And um, when I got sent to Afghanistan, I was scared. I was completely scared, and you don't know what's gonna happen. And it changed me. It turned me into a man a lot faster than I was gonna be a man. And um, it gave me everything that I wanted. And that brotherhood that you build when you're deployed, that environment that you have when you're out deployed, like you're just out there trying to protect yourself and protect people around you, people that you love, and you have no bills, you have nothing to worry about but to stay alive and take care of each other. So
Mm.
I got everything that I wanted with that. And did I join the Marine Corps for that? To be honest, I didn't join the Marine Corps for that. I joined the Marine Corps because I saw a guy, a friend of mine named Mike, join the Marine Corps. His persona changed. He came back from boot camp and he's completely different. And I was like, what the heck? I want to be like this guy. And that's how I got recruited. I got recruited because my friend joined, and he took me to go see a recruiter. And the recruiter, he just messed with my mind. He said, you couldn't hack it in the Marine Corps. And I
Yep.
wanted to prove him wrong. And to this day, I still talk to my recruiter, one of my closest Marine friends. And
No kidding.
he tells me all the time, "You were one of the hardest and most stubborn Marines I had to put in the Marine Corps." And he said I made him do work, but I got to see him when I was deployed in Afghanistan. We ran into each other, and he retired last year. Really good guy. I'm blessed because of him. He didn't give up on me, and um, I'm in the Marine Corps not because I'm missing something. I'm in the Marine Corps because I love what I do.
It's awesome.
I truly love being a Marine, and it's not because the name or I get to wear a uniform. It's not even none of that. I think it's just the people
Yeah.
that you meet, the people that you get to see grow, the people you can help, the people you can guide, mentor, help. There's a lot of people that come from all over the U.S. that don't have parents or have a different lifestyle. And you just help them get through life, and I think that's my favorite part in the Marine Corps. You just get to see people grow.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's how I met you.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. I mean, how do you feel like it's prepared you for the future, or how do you feel like you've been able to help other people prepare for the future through the military?
Um, Well, in the beginning, I did not think the way I think now. But young Marines come in the Marine Corps, and they think today, and they focus on right now or what they're doing today. And the biggest thing that I try to tell people all the time is try to think try to think where you're going to be 4 years from now,
Yeah.
whether you're going to be in the Marine Corps or not. Like, what are you going to be doing? How can you put yourself? out there where you're a better Marine, where you're a better individual, not just in the Marine Corps, but in society? How can you help other people? And how can you be a better person? Because at the end of the day, we're not going to be all Marines forever. We're
Hmm.
not going to, people stay in for 20 years. Most people can live for 80 to 100 years. Just think about it. If you subtract 20, you still have a 60 years in your life. Therefore, the Marine Corps is a small piece of your life. You still have a lot. So I try to help people see the bigger picture and not just to get so sucked in on what's going on in front of them today.
Yeah, yeah.
If that
Oh,
makes sense.
no, absolutely. I mean, I definitely feel like the military is kind of like, you know, I don't want to say like a live fast, die young type thing, where people aren't really thinking too far ahead because
Hmm.
they don't know. Um, but I think it's important to have that mindset where you're thinking about the future.
Of course, we have
Because there are
to.
a lot of opportunities within the military to like take advantage of that can prepare you for whatever you want to do afterwards.
Yeah, of course. I definitely, I think that's my biggest, I'm like the biggest advocate when it comes to that. Resources. How do you get to meet people that have a certain mindset? What do you hang out at? What do you do every day? Who's your circle that you talk to on a daily basis? And that's the biggest thing. Like Marines like to think, hey, I might not make it tomorrow, so I'm just gonna go out and splurge and do whatever I want. But at the end of the day, that's
Yeah,
not the case. We're all gonna live a long life, and if it
yeah,
doesn't, then at least you tried. At least you're moving forward and try to make yourself a better person. Don't join the Marine Corps 4 years from now. Go back home and be the same person you were because you're not going to be.
yeah,
So just grow, and that's what I tell a lot of Marines that just be better and take care of your Marines, and they'll take care of you.
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that right there kind of answers my next question about like if you were talking to somebody who's thinking about joining or maybe like a young Marine, like what kind of advice? I mean, other than thinking ahead and planning for the future, um, but for success, kind of long term.
Yeah. Well, I think probably one of the things that if I was able to change in the Marine Corps and help people at a young age, I think one of your topics in this podcast is it's finance. Most people do not know what it is to be financially free. What they don't even think about being 6 years old and not being able to work, but they're how they're going to get an income.
Yeah,
If they think Social Security is going to be around, I don't know who's feeding that information to them, but it's tough to believe that's going to be there. So I try to guide people and tell people like, hey man, like, what are you going to do when you're 6 years old and you can't work and your body's beat up? Is your retirement set up? I don't know.
yeah,
So that's one of the things I do in my unit, the finance aspect. But I wish that we were able to get a bigger aspect, a bigger learning experience in finance when we first joined the military, because like we've talked about this many times. I think money and financially set for your retirement, that's one of the most important things.
yeah,
And if you don't start when you're 18 years old and you decide to start when you're 30 versus 40 whereas 50, then your assets when you are 60 or when you're older is going to be a lot smaller
hmm,
if you choose to live working paycheck to paycheck for the rest of your life.
yeah,
So I get to that's probably one of the biggest things that I recommend Marines is what are you doing for your retirement? Where are you putting your money at? Are you spending all your money here? Can we look at where we can cut some money so we can help you with the retirement? Because most Marines don't even know where their retirement's at or what fund they're putting their money at. So I just try to help people with that. And if I was to do anything is one of the three things that I talk to Marines is one, try to grow and be the best person you can be every day. Two, start thinking about your retirement because no matter what, it's gonna come. And if you're not ready, you're gonna look back hoping you did. And the third thing is always think about what you're gonna do next. Don't never just sit still and think that everything's gonna happen for you. Because at the end of the day, if you're thinking of nothing, nothing's gonna happen. But if you're
yeah,
thinking of a lot of things and you choose to do nothing about it, you have no action first with it, you're never gonna get nowhere. So I'm always
absolutely.
telling Marines, think and do it. Someone about a year ago told me this. If you were to imagine putting a blindfold on and you have a dart in your hand and you're trying to throw a dart at the target, you're never going to hit the target. But if you take your blindfold off and you're shooting the target, eventually you're going to hit that target because you have a vision of where you're trying to go.
Mm,
Most people don't even have a vision, so they don't even know where they're trying to go.
yeah,
So that's why I don't know. That's why I think my job here is to help people get to where they want to go.
absolutely. I like it, man. It's a lot. That's a lot of wisdom right there, and I would definitely agree with you.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not the brightest person around here. I've learned and I've smacked my face so many times. So
You speak
I
from
think,
experience.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's all that's all we can really do is help those that haven't gotten those experiences yet, uh, and
Mhm.
and and share those experiences with them to hopefully so they can learn from our mistakes rather than making them on their own.
Of course,
But yeah,
and they
man. I
still
mean,
make it.
yeah, that's true.
They'll,
Yeah, they do.
they'll, they'll listen to this and they'll still do it. But hey,
Yeah,
sometimes people have to learn the hard way.
yeah. And then they'll look back and they're like, all right, Cervantes knows what he's talking about. So, but cool, man. Yeah, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your insight and wisdom, and I look forward to seeing where you guys end up.
I'm excited, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. Cervantes is a great guy. He's got a lot of good stuff. And if you wanted to get in contact with him or follow along with his life, you can find more information on his Instagram at RideFasterMan. In addition to that, if you want to contact me or have any other questions or want to be on the show, check out militarybottomline.com and reach out to me there.